Hi everybody, welcome back. Glad you could tune in again. Today I want to give you a lesson in applied Trinitarian theology which will help you in relationships when you tend to experience friction or disagreements or even arguments and quarrels. Let me take a step back for a moment and tell you where we're going with this, and then I'll tell you why this is actually a lesson in applied Trinitarian theology. You've heard, I'm sure, of the practice of straw manning, that is, creating a straw man, which is to say, depicting somebody's position in such a way that you make it as easy to demolish as possible. You caricature, even to the point of misrepresenting somebody's views, so that the argument that they're maintaining is as easy as possible for you to demolish. That's straw manning. Or the opposite, which has gained prominence in one or two contexts in recent months and years, but the idea has been around for a long time, has been called steel manning. Steel man, opposite of a straw man. When you steel man somebody's position, what you're trying to do is to represent their views in such a way that, at the very least, they will be happy to have their views represented in that way. Perhaps they might even think, yeah, you've expressed my position better than I could. You really understand how it is that I'm thinking, what it is that's driving me. So to steel man somebody else's position in a disagreement or a dispute or even a debate, a mild discussion, puts you in a position to really take on the strongest form of whatever it is that they're arguing for, rather than caricaturing and representing the weakest form of their argument so you have an easy time demolishing it. Now, you can easily see why in practice this will help with relationships. Just take the obvious example of a husband and wife. It's very easy sometimes for a very small issue sometimes to cause tension and friction, and often it's because we're not seeing one another's point of view, or put more precisely, we're not really feeling the weight of one another's point of view. Somebody likes this idea for, I don't know, home decoration or something, and you like something else. They want the cheap option. You think the more expensive but longer lasting option would be better. And it's just easier to see your own argument rather than really trying to inhabit your spouse's point of view, the other person's point of view. The same principle can be replicated in lots of different places. If you steel man somebody else's position, you really make them feel like, yeah, you understand me. And then you can actually get to grips with what they're thinking, and they don't feel like they're being caricatured. Now, why is this a lesson in applied Trinitarian theology? Well, put simply, all created existence is patterned on the character and the being of God. From him come all things. And so everything in that sense reflects his image. Human beings, of course, supremely reflect the image of God. And human relationships, no less than anything else in all creation, are patterned on God himself, and therefore on divine relationships, the relationships between the Father and the Son and the Spirit. Now, of course, there are differences between human relationships and those divine relationships, but human relationships are nonetheless patterned on those divine relationships. And for them to work well, that is, for human beings to relate well to each other, requires us to operate in a way which, to a certain extent, mirrors those divine relationships, the relationship between the Father and the Son and the Spirit. Now then, just think for a moment about those divine relationships. The relationship between the Father and the Son, for example, just take that as one example of the three relationships you could imagine. How much of the Father's being is found in the Son? Well, the answer, if you've done your Trinitarian theology homework over the years, is all of it. There's one God, one divine essence, as theologians say in technical terms. And that essence is fully possessed by the Father and the Son and the Spirit. The Son has in himself, from the Father, everything that it is to be God. The only difference between the Father and the Son is nothing about the godness of the persons, but just about the personhood of the persons. The Son is everything the Father is, except that he's not the Father, he's the Son. So what that means is, to put it in simple terms, the Son has within himself all the Father's life. The Son experiences within himself all that the Father is. As Jesus puts it in John's Gospel, the Father shows to the Son all that he is doing. So that means that when they relate to each other in eternity and actually in time and space, the Son fully understands and grasps and even experiences as the Son everything that the Father experiences. Now take that back to our human relationships for a moment. How would it be if our discussions, when they got a little bit tense, we just put the brakes on and thought, now I'm going to be like the Son now. I'm going to try to experience firsthand as much as I can what it feels like to be in your shoes. I'm going to try and hear your concerns and to feel your concerns as sharply and as clearly and as deeply as you do. Well, that would then put us in a position to resolve those disagreements and tense discussions far more amicably and reasonably and graciously than if we just stand on our own pedestal and throw rocks at each other. So there you are, a contemporary practice that we can take a hold of to help us to deal with relational tensions of many kinds, which actually in one way or another traces its roots back to a right understanding of who God is and how the Father and the Son and the Spirit relate to each other. I hope that's helpful to you. I'll be praying for you, and the Lord bless you. Bye for now.